So Jews still get reparations? I got more Rhetoric coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, Reason. As always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I have more Rhetoric for y'all now. Jews still get reparations is an example of end result thinking. Again, black people focusing on disparities that prove absolutely nothing. But as we know, black folks are always crying about reparations and how blacks are owed reparation in America. Now, the problem with this is that most blacks in America aren't owed anything. Most black people in America today didn't suffer anything, didn't have anything taken from them. And to that, they will say, they will bring the, handed down wealth argument that if blacks in the past would have not lost land, wealth, and value, they would have handed it down to their children and so on and so forth. Well, the problem with this is that when it comes down to reparations or any type of compensation, the standard has been set that only the people who were personally impacted will receive that. So nothing goes to the children or the grandchildren or great-grandchildren of those people. Then, of course, the excuse that they will come up with, well, Jews still receive reparations today. Well, here's the problem with that narrative is that the Jews who receive reparations are basically those of the survivors of the Holocaust. Now, Jews basically started receiving reparations back in 1950, 5 years after the end of the war, World War II. Well, the Luxembourg Agreement was finalized in 1951, and in this agreement, Germany would pay the Jews to help them resettle in Germany or give them funds to help them relocate to Israel. And part of that agreement was a fund that would disperse money to the survivors over the course of years. Okay, now, as I said, this was the agreement that was made with the people who actually, again, people who personally suffered because of the Holocaust. Again, not their children and their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. Now, it's estimated, I've seen different estimates. Some people say there's about 170,000 survivors still left of the Holocaust. I've seen figures that say about 280,000 survivors. But this money is paid to them. It's not paid to any other Jewish people. It's just those people who are still around that are personal survivors of the Holocaust. Now, as far as black people directly impacted by things in the past in America, for instance, the blacks who lost wealth and land in Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any other blacks who personally directly lost something, we can sit down and we can have that conversation, because the conversation that was being had about getting the blacks in Tulsa, Oklahoma reparations for what they lost. Like I say, I don't have a problem with that argument. We can sit down, we can have that argument. If these people can prove that they were personally impacted, then by all means, hey, make them whole, compensate them. But like I said, most blacks, like 95% of blacks aren't owed a damn thing. They have so many blacks crying about reparations as if the majority of blacks in America is not going to benefit from that because you're not owed anything. Now, the thing though is that kills me about this whole reparation argument is they act as if reparations is going to be this magic solution to solve problems of blacks in America, and it's not. Reparations is not going to solve any real problems of the black people. Again, the problem facing blacks in America is completely mental, not physical. So a check won't fix that. A check, again, if a check were going to fix any problem in the black community, welfare would have done that a long time ago. But it's not. And if you give black people reparations today, essentially you're going to, we saw what happens when you give black folks money, especially ghetto blacks. We saw this with Katrina. Black folks got their Katrina money. They were, had no humility or no humbleness whatsoever. They're in the club buying champagnes, and and the club was labeled FEMA Fridays. Every Friday night was considered FEMA Fridays, and at least until the FEMA run ran out, then it went back to regular Fridays. Essentially, if you put money in the hands of black people, that's exactly what you're going to get, because black folks, again, the issue is not the lack thereof of things. If there's absolutely nothing that black people can do today that they can't do without a reparations check. It's not like black folks are banned from doing something, but if you give them a reparations check, they're going to be able to partake in that activity. No, it's not. They're just going to spin it up until it's gone. Regardless, with that being said, the fact that Jewish people today still receive reparations is not evidence that, and the reason why all blacks today should get reparations, because as I said, the Jewish people receiving reparations are those Jewish people who are still the survivors of the Holocaust, as far as the agreement that was made back in the day. There was no agreement made about blacks today. Anyway, so if you ever hear any of these race hustlers or blacks say that Jews still receive reparations, well, now you know, and knowing it's after battle, and it's always y'all. Until next time.